Okay, we got another news update here. What do I got for you now? I have Strixhaven. As anticipated, we received the NDAs for all the folks who had early access to Wizards of the Coast's press briefings. That has happened. Number one, 100% confirmed, subclasses are scrapped completely. They are gone. They are never coming back. So, I said it before and I'll say it again. Surveys matter. Enough people in the playtest and in the Unearthed Arcana public playtest said they didn't like the uniqueness or the lack thereof of these subclasses. They said that having one subclass that could be ported across multiple classes did not make it feel unique enough, so Wizards of the Coast made the call to scrap them entirely. They are not appearing in the book at all. You can still obviously play them in Unearthed Arcana if you want, but they are gone forever. So for better or worse, we did it or not, depending on how you want to look at it. What I do know is I read a couple of different articles. I watched a video. The deep dive for Strixhaven I don't think comes out for about 6 hours from now, about 9:30 p.m. We'll get that, and I'll make an update video after that. Todd Kenrick released, he said that there are feats, the new feats. Remember we talked about those? There are going to be new feats in the book. They are going to give you magic. So these new feats give everyone magic. And he said, whatever school you choose to go to in Strixhaven gives you a feat for free. Therefore, in turn, giving you magic. So even if you're a fighter, even if you're a rogue, these feats that you'd get for free for joining one of those colleges will give you magic. So much to what a lot of you, drop my pen, much to what a lot of you had suggested as well, that seems to be how they're getting around, still giving you magic for going and choosing a specific college. But it's not a subclass. It's I join this college, I get a free feat. That feat gives me magic. And maybe there are feat chains or feat trees where I got this one, now I can go here and I can go here. That was also poorly received in the past. People didn't seem to like that concept of feat trees were something that existed in older editions, and they kind of, to a very lesser degree, exist here in 5e. But basically, I could take this feat, which then unlocks these feats that I can take, like you've done in any kind of video game where you're doing tiered systems or you're building out your character. You take one, it gives you access to the next. But anyway, so I thought I'd go through a couple of different things, some really huge mini news as well on Wild Beyond the Witchlight. So we'll talk about that. Maybe I should make that a separate video, actually. Yeah, I'll do that. All right. So we have this article here from comicbook.com where they flat out says, scraps the controversial playtest subclasses from the Strixhaven book. So they've opted to not move forward with the 5 subclasses that could be used across multiple player classes. Lead rules designer Jeremy Crawford confirmed that they had scrapped the subclasses, each of which corresponded to one magic school of Strixhaven. The Unearthed Arcana playtest did the job we asked it to do, which is what I've been saying, that they do listen. Occasionally, we put some very experimental things in front of D&D fans and ask them if they want to see more of it. In this case, the very simple answer was no. We learned 2 really important things from this playtest that reinforced something we've been seeing from the D&D community back to D&D Next. That was what it was called before 5th edition officially came out. People love D&D subclasses to speak to the distinctiveness of a particular class. 5e fans also want subclasses to be usable in as many subclasses as possible, since so many DMs homebrew their own settings. In this case, there was a bit of an uphill climb since the subclasses were so tied to a particular setting, and that being the Magical College of Strixhaven. That sounds great in theory, but Jeremy Crawford, you have an Undying and an Undead Warlock. They are basically the same, except one is better because it is released with what people will call the newer power creep. They're not distinctly unique. The subclasses, the Undead and the Undying Warlock, are basically the same. Okay, moving on. Crawford noted that they were prepared for the fanbase to reject the subclasses and had prepared contingency plans in case they didn't work out. The subclasses will be replaced with other character options such as feats tied to a specific college, which will support even more character types than the subclasses would have. We could also see some design elements appear in future D&D products in another capacity. Various new magic items, including magical textbooks, will also appear in the book to help players feel tied to their chosen college. And it says, we already talked about the Owl Folk will be released as the Owlin. So comicbook.com also has another article here. Each part of the campaign, so it goes 4-part campaign, goes from levels 1 to 10. Level 10 is actually when you graduate. That'll be your graduation is the end of the campaign, which is kind of interesting. Each part of the campaign runs through the length of 1 school year at the Magical College of Strixhaven and can be played either as a standalone adventure or a full-length campaign. The campaign will cover everything from exams, social interactions like dances, and nefarious plots that lurk in the shadows of the school. Let's see. Well, Moravnica and Theros both contained introductory adventures set in those worlds. This is the first time, this is what I've been saying, the first time that D&D is releasing a campaign-length adventure with sort of a campaign setting all at once. Unlike the previous books, Strixhaven is merely a school as opposed to a whole plane, so DMs can insert Strixhaven into any campaign setting. The upcoming source book will also contain several new player options, such as new magic spells, feats, and magic items designed to make players feel like they're integrated with whichever magical college within Strixhaven their character is attending. If characters run through the Strixhaven campaign found in the book, their character is automatically given a free feat that will be spent on a Strixhaven-related feat. The new book also contains a new playable race, the Owlin. However, the book will not contain the 5 class-agnostic subclasses yet. It'll also have 40 new NPCs and monsters found on campus, which include founding dragons of each of Strixhaven's schools. Includes the founding dragons, rather, of each of the Strixhaven schools. The various pest-like mascots of each school also have their own monster stat block. It releases in November 16th. I just took down a couple other notes here. Todd Kenrick's piece said, on-campus jobs will also, so we know there's like, you can do all variety of things you could do in college. Like, you're in college, what do you need? Well, more often than time, college students need money, so they take an on-campus job. Well, apparently, those on-campus jobs could also give you bonuses in some aspect as well. And he said a lot of the magic items are themed around college. Again, they mentioned books, but I guess there might be other collegiate-themed magic items. It's something that I wasn't sure about, but Todd Kenrick mentioned it, and I thought I'd bring it up here too. The concept of using this adventure as sort of the introduction or sort of the background of your character, right? Because a lot of the time people will say that level 10 is when your characters really kind of start to come into their own, and that they're beyond local or, local town heroes. They're sort of expanded out into the wider world and are true heroes at this point. And the concept that I thought was interesting was that completing this entire adventures from levels 1 to 10 would basically be building your character's backstory, because your background would basically be student. You'd go through your however many years of college, finish your 10 levels worth of that college, and then now you've graduated, and then very much like a real world scenario, you have now left schooling and are entering the real world for the first time as best prepared as you can be, ready to take on a new adventure in life post-college yourself. So this is actually a pretty interesting concept that could make for a very fun campaign, as long as you have good stuff planned for level 10 plus. So your party, that's your intro. You play through the whole campaign, you go through school, maybe they're all in the same college, maybe they're in different colleges, whatever. They become their little group of their Scooby gang of friends, they complete college, now they're level 10, and then they become an adventuring party and go out and do great things in the world. I think that could be pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think. There's been a lot of comments from folks saying, oh, I think maybe the college will be there, maybe the subclasses will be there, maybe they won't. Well, we can say again, officially, no subclasses. They found other ways to integrate them, whether that be through magic items or feats. What do you think? I want to see what you guys have to say, because obviously the internet as a whole suggested they did not like these feats. Although they could be repurposed in some format in the future, and I do think you might be able to, honestly, if you didn't like them, just make them all tied to a specific class rather than multiple classes. Just make, one of this college is now a druid subclass or something like that. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.